And just like that, we're back. We don't have any trailers to run for the next program because we're not sure what the next movies are going to be that you'll see on our
Yeah, we're
program.
going to be off this weekend, but we'll be back the following weekend. It could be what's that date?
Yes.
The 12th?
Uh,
Yeah, the
yeah, I
12th.
think
We'll
it's the
be back. We have
12th.
some
11th?
ideas of
12th.
movies. Nothing sort of.
Yeah. I'll be over posting about it on social media eventually. So I would never let anyone not know what movies we
As
have.
always, throw requests in the chat. We will take them under advisement. We have discussed a few
Yeah.
movies. Tubi has added some crazy stuff. Carter Stevens' Punk Rock is on there with the adult scenes taken out of it. There's some wild stuff coming on Tubi. I don't know what's going on. I just noticed it. And I was like, what? So yeah. So who knows what could be coming up next? I have my druthers of some that I'd like to see, but we'll get there.
So many movies, so little time.
There really is. And this is episode what 112. Yeah,
Yes. Can you believe that?
can you believe it? Yeah, it's amazing.
Episode 112. The devil's hair is all messed up.
The Devils. Huh? You have a very chilly Billy hair tonight. It's very nice.
Oh, thank you very much.
Yeah. So yeah, I wonder what everybody thought of this movie. I love the end of it. I also like the way everybody speaks in this. Everybody has an accent of some sort. Everybody uses very big words, um, and yeah, pretty wild.
It's a serious film.
Everything is the most important conversation that's ever happened between everybody. That's kind of what I like about it. This is really like being at my mom's family reunion, my mom's side's family reunions, where people would get into fights. No one turned into werewolves, and nobody's faces were bitten by rats, but otherwise very similar. Oh no, who's back? It's
Uh-oh, another
he is a
costume. This
pumpkin.
one.
A pumpkin.
Oh, there you go.
Yeah. Hello, Cubby. What did you think of the movie?
Too much for me.
Too much. Reminded me of my childhood. The rats are coming.
There probably wasn't enough canine action in it for him.
No, there wasn't. He's like, I mean, less rats, more werewolves. My review.
Well, you could have showed Cujo.
Yeah. Also, we should have gave a trigger warning that yes, a real mouse is killed in that movie. So
I think it is.
yeah,
I had totally forgotten about that scene. I was like,
Yeah.
God, it's like a mouse snuff film.
yeah.
It was upsetting. I agree.
I mean, is it as bad as a monkey getting killed? I would argue no.
No, but it kind of is.
Yeah.
It's something that you wouldn't do to a mouse if you put out a mouse trap or a glue trap, for God's sake.
No. So
I endorse the use of mouse traps because
yeah.
it's pretty humane, I guess. But I had to resort to a glue trap once, and it was not a pretty experience. I'll never do that again.
My mom has a raccoon problem because she has her outdoor cats, and when she feeds them, a raccoon tries to steal their food. So I picked up a broom and tried to push the raccoon away from the food. The raccoon literally grabbed the broom out of my hands and went and threw it. And I was like,
Ooh.
"Fuck, he knows how to use tools." So I just
Ooh.
went back in the house.
That's my kind of raccoon.
I think he's cute. They hate him. Becca wants to take him home. So look for that raccoon to show up on my other shoulder next week. Look for him to just pop in next week.
Yeah, they make great pets until they get old. And
And
then
then
you
you-
can't keep them anymore. Like, even if they've been domestic their whole lives, like they'll attack you.
Man, nature's crazy.
Plus,
Yeah,
they're not domesticated animals, so they could probably attack you at any minute, no matter
Yeah.
how docile they seem.
just like rats. Like the rats were so well behaved until he let them feed on that old woman, and then they got a taste for flesh.
See, this is the kind of stuff that makes me love this movie. Like how she tries to return the rats to this strange man who is actually Andy Milligan.
Yeah,
I guess it's pretty obvious. And he played that thrift shop guy and the gunsmith. as if you couldn't
Like,
tell.
I gave you a really good deal on those rats. You
I
can't,
even gave you a discount.
yeah, you can't bring them back now. Oh. Uh, there's like a whole economy going on in this movie, like different someone melting down crucifixes into bullets. Like
Well,
there's
yeah, and then later she's like, I have a confession to make. Please promise me you won't be upset. But this thing that was the only possession of your mother's that you had in the entire world, well, I took it and I melted it down into bullets for my werewolf family.
the father really talks like a lot of people on my mom's side of the family. And this is no insult. My mom would agree with this. I'm not insulting my mom. But when the father says, someone poisoned my wife, but that's not important. I'm not going to tell you about it. And move
Yeah.
on to a completely different subject. I've been in those discussions. And they're just like, what? And then, the scary thing is as a kid, like this really feels like being at one of those family reunions and just sitting there listening because kids are supposed to be quiet and hearing people say the most insane things and as a kid wanting to go, but wait, what? We're all werewolves? We're all gonna come together and outside of the supernatural element, I really feel this movie.
Yeah, there's some strong drama going on behind the scenes. It just so happens that these people are werewolves
Yeah.
and psychotic murderers because I love the sort of dull friend who turns out to be actually pretty sharp and turns into a blackmailer, and then
Rebecca?
Rebecca. She's like, yes. I love that. She's alone with her friend in a gazebo, and the friend says, "I'll be right back." And then she hears a voice that sort of sounds just like her friend going, "Rebecca." But instead she's like, "Yes."
I like that it cut to orange she goes to stab her and it cuts to just a frame of orange. That was pretty
Mm.
awesome. It's
Mm-hmm.
a technique I've never ever seen or will ever see another director do again.
She saw it whenever she died, she saw it coming and she kind of made this sound like she was throwing up.
Yeah.
Like, yeah.
What's funny is you'll see other people like do homages to directors, right? Homages to directors like a lot of Fulci, a lot of John Carpenter. I want to see people start doing homages to Andy Milligan stuff in their movies, and they probably would end their careers.
The makeup too. Yeah. I could not believe her eyelashes.
The
And
eyelashes,
she
and she had the nude lipstick on too, which I found pretty insane. Like the really beige face, like contoured beige face with it. Yeah, it was pretty good.
Did they even know who Cleopatra was in England in 1899?
No, I don't think that story had gotten around yet. There's a lot of makeup. Like they're like these guys are wearing a lot of it. They should have had a guy come in with a wig, like a powdered wig, and be like, "Guys, settle down." Like, there's a lot of makeup on there. So, but enjoyable, strangeness.
Yeah, I simply love it. I
Yeah.
don't know. A lot of people say that this is one of the lesser Andy Milligan movies, but I don't agree with that at all. It's not as good as Blood.
Mm-mm.
Blood is probably my favorite
Blood has
because it's
so much going on in it that
yeah.
it's like it just like there's a lot.
There was even more in Blood that
Yeah.
I don't think it's even on that Andy Milligan box set. Apparently, there was some footage of vampire bats in Blood, where these vampire bats were spreading rabies in the local village, and there were scenes of bat attacks that maybe were filmed. I don't know. It's kind of sketchy, the details about it. So I would love to see that. Naturally,
Oh,
obviously, I'd love to see it.
man, I'm super into that. I should have gotten the
Hmm.
box set. I remember what I was thinking. I'll say the same thing about that Bollywood box set. Like I should have gotten it. But,
Well, I have the Andy Milligan box set. I will give it to you, and
okay.
you can hold it ransom for the 1900 things that you gave me that I never gave back to you.
Yeah. I was telling Bill during the break, speaking of wine deliveries that are really bad, I watched Curse of the Screaming Dead, which is a Maryland regional zombie movie. The other thing that's amazing about that movie, Bill, is the same director made it twice. They made another one and they
Yeah.
didn't like it, and he's like, "We can make it again." It's also an RV movie, Bill. An RV filled with hippies fighting Confederate zombies. I don't know how
I'm in.
Yeah, I don't know how else I can sell it any more than that. I mean, with a scratchy soundtrack that doesn't match, like the audio's off.
I already love it.
Yeah, exactly.
Is it as bad as The Child?
It's near child.
I mean, the soundtrack.
Yeah, it's all. It sounds like it's all bass. It sounds like
And you
this.
know I'm not saying The Child is a bad movie by saying is it as bad as The Child, because
It
The
has, like,
Child is
how,
gold as far as I'm concerned.
like, you know how like a lot of like really gothy bands, like Sam Hain's kind of the gothy side of that. Like they would put out these kind of albums and it'd just be all bass. You couldn't hear any snare drum or anything. That's what this soundtrack sounds like. It's pretty awesome. There's another movie, Bill, I think you'd really like. It's on Tubi right now. It's shockingly from 2021. I don't know how this movie was made a year ago. It's called Killer Queen. It's shot on Super 8, and it's literally a giallo about a woman going nuts that she knows that she's driven to kill and wants to kill everyone in her path and has to keep stopping it from happening. And when you see it, like, you know, people are like, oh, it has like a John Carpenter soundtrack. This one really does, but like a very like Assault on Precinct 13 kind of. It's like an early 70s look of it, and the whole thing being shot on Super 8 and is like fuzzed out and stuff. It's really awesome.
Yeah, that strange sound that Last House on Dead End Street has, it is kind of weird.
I really do think that movie was made in hell. I think that movie is amazing.
I kind of think so too, but that guy who's the director,
Yeah.
I'm not going to be able to remember his name off the top of my head, and I could kill myself because of that. But he kind of like has this goofy high school heavy metaloid look to him, and every time he's
Yeah.
on camera, that's all I can see is like kids like that I knew and went to school with, like sitting down around there like,
Yeah.
yeah, man, this school sucks. Like that's what I think of when I see that guy. I can't
He
take him
definitely
seriously.
got a big pen and wrote band logos on his denim jacket.
Yes. But I mean, I would never say I don't like that movie because I do.
Yeah.
It's really upset me.
I really recommend Killer Queen and Curse of the Screaming Dead. They're both. If you like
Okay,
movies,
wait.
tons of
Rewind. What year is Killer Queen from?
2009, 2020, or 21, but it looks like it's from like 78. It's very
It's shot on Super 8 a couple of years ago. Wow,
Yeah.
that's awesome.
And it's a female director. It's kind of like a female. The closest movie I can think of that it's like is Driller Killer. If Driller Killer wasn't so artsy fartsy and was just about killing, that's what this movie is. And I mean, I love Driller Killer, but there's sometimes where Driller Killer kind of wades its way up its own ass. But this movie doesn't. It's really good. I was shocked that it was on. I've been waiting to see it, and it's real good. There's a lot of really neat stuff, by the way, being said in the comments about the
I know. I love all of it too.
Yeah. Yeah.
I like when there's reactions like this.
Yes.
You know, so many people loved Chosen Survivors. I wish you could have been here.
Oh man. Oh, I really wish I saw that somebody made a drink tonight for it too, which made me really happy.
Oh, awesome.
Yeah, for Chosen Survivors. So
yeah, that movie's good stuff. It gets better and better the more you watch it.
I like it because it's a combination bat, post-apocalyptic, what a twist movie. You know what I mean? It's kind of like a disaster movie in ways too. It's got a lot of stuff in it. So I love that movie. And I love it's got a very tense climbing scene, which I can't deal with. It makes me very tense and upset.
Oh my god.
Yeah.
You just know that guy's gonna end up falling.
Oh,
it's
just like but the whole time you're like, I'm with it. And it's just yeah. It's real weird. But that's why I like it. So Chosen Survivors and the Bat People. I mean, what a double feature. You did it. That's like if you do anything else in your life, that is like the thing. That's something to hang your hat on right there.
The Bat double feature.
The Bat double feature. Yeah.
And I dressed as a bat.
Oh man, see, I missed everything.
I dressed as a bat. You have to go back and look at it. You didn't even see my costume on
I'm gonna
Saturday.
go back and watch it while I'm working tomorrow. That's what I'm gonna do. I'm gonna pretend that I'm in real time and I'll talk along with you guys, and then occasionally write stuff into the chat so it shows up in the timeline. So it'll be like I'm there, but just in my universe.
I got to do 2 costumes this year. It was kind of fun.
Oh man, that's awesome. Yeah, I thought people might. I've worked at ad agencies before where people dress up. I was really hoping that nobody was going to dress up today on their Zoom call because it's always uncomfortable, you know.
Yeah.
No, nobody did. There were a lot of people, pictures of dogs being sent back and forth that were dressed up, but nobody dressed up and said. That's always weird. Like when you have to have like a serious discussion with your boss, and like Dracula's on the other line, and you're like, oh.
Yeah, I didn't know people did that. That's kind of weird.
The funniest part of that fight Saturday night is one of the dads fighting was dressed like a vampire costume, but only had half of it on. Like he had taken off the cape and the fangs, and he just had like the ruffled shirt and like the hair. It is pickup truck. He jumped like a Dracula jumped out of a pickup truck, like a half Dracula jumped out of a pickup truck and said, "What the fuck is happening here?" And like just screaming ensued. Ran past, he came in, he goes, "Where's my kid?" And I said, "I don't know who the fuck your kid is. Like, I don't know. Like, I didn't, first off, I didn't know there were going to be kids at this party. Like, we brought a lot of beer and cheese. You know what I mean? And it was weird. So, anyway, yeah, but nobody dressed up in any of the Teams calls or Zoom calls today. And I really kind of wish they would have. We used to have to, it was big, my old agency, it was a big deal that everybody had to dress up. And they were like big prizes and stuff. And I hated it. Like I hated everything about it. The only good costumes we did one year, we were all the dead pirates, all the pirate players that died, and so we did like zombie makeup and pirates uniforms. That was pretty funny. What would I have dressed up?
I won a costume contest at work one year.
As well.
Yeah, I won like $50 or something, and it was funny because I woke up that day and I forgot it was we were supposed to dress up at work. So I just threw this costume together at the last minute. Like I sprayed all this white hairspray in my hair, which I wouldn't need now because my hair really is almost white. But I made myself look older, and I wore a pair of overalls and carried a wrench to work, and I won a prize for that. I was like, I can't believe that.
Hey,
I don't know.
I mean,
I'll take it.
Yeah, we had our best costume at work. We were Cards Against Humanity cards one year, and we made like everybody was a card and all laid down on the table, and you had to pick them off the table and see what was written on it. So I thought that was a funny costume. It didn't take a ton of work either, so it was pretty fun. But yeah, some of these other teams would like. I think a lot of our social media people were ex cheerleaders. You know, like cheerleaders would always decorate people's houses and homerooms and stuff. They had a lot of that skill left over from high school, and you know. But my skill was following the Tom Savini book and you know and making effects out of it. You know.
So like, how big of a deal was Halloween to you when you were a kid? Like when do you remember Halloween becoming a big deal?
It was a big deal, I think, when I was probably first grade, second grade, because we didn't have a lot of money growing up, but my dad was obviously a really great artist, and he would make us amazing costumes. I was Godzilla one year. I have to find the pictures of it. If I'm going to be home this week, I'll take some pictures. But he made a paper mache Godzilla head and a soft sculptured tail. Like I had, no other kid had. They had a Godzilla costume, they had like a plastic one, you know, like that said Godzilla across the chest. But he made me into a full Godzilla costume. My brother was Ponch that year from Chips. He even had a little bike.
Oh man,
yeah, it was awesome. And Noah was real chubby when he was a kid, so it was awesome. And then I was a snow trooper one year, and Noah was Luke on a tauntaun, all paper mache. He like built this whole tauntaun, and the legs were gray sweatpants, so it looked like the legs of the tauntaun, and then fake legs, so it looked like the little legs were going as he ran. Pretty sweet. So he really got into it. He loved making costumes and stuff. So that was fun of it for me. And like we had a really nice neighborhood, like that had a lot of bigger houses in it, so that they would always hand out like a lot of big time candy. You know, but it's funny because someone said today one of the questions on our Zoom call was our team call was like, "What kind of candy do you like at Halloween?" And every other kid, you know, fought over the candy. So my theory was, I'm not going to fight over the candy. I'm going to get the stuff nobody wants. So Special Dark was my big one, and like Crackle sometimes, and like Mr. Goodbar, because I knew that about the movie, and I knew I wasn't allowed to watch the movie. So I
Oh
figured
my
I could
God.
at least eat the candy bar. My mom was like, "Don't you ever watch that movie if it comes on?" And I was like, "Okay."
I hated Mr. Goodbar, and also Special Dark. I can't believe you liked that as a
Love
kid.
Special Dark. It's like, you know why? Because when you're a kid, no one gets mad when you eat the baking chocolate. You know, like they're like, well, that's not good, but if you want some, go ahead. And like Special Dark is like the next cousin, the slightly refined cousin of baking chocolate. It's not good.
I just don't get it. It's like it's chocolate that's almost pleasurable to eat, but it isn't. That's what it's like for me.
No, it's great because to me, it's like it's me being an edgelord as a kid. I'm like, none of the other kids like this shit. It was like me being into Vinegar Syndrome at 5. You know, I was like, this is the shit. So,
right.
Yeah. I if I were to pick though a candy bar from my youth, that Death and Chunky would be probably the best one. Like Chunky it described me, and it described the candy that I liked. And I also like Spree is another one. Spree's
Now Spree I did like.
yeah.
Spree
I
was pretty
could eat a
awesome.
whole roll of Spree right now.
It
Like,
was kind of chewy, but not. It was.
Yeah.
What was it? Well, how would you
It's like
describe?
it's like white. It's like sweet tarts, kind of, but a little. You know.
Yeah, I like Spree.
Yeah.
I didn't
I'm a
mind
fan
getting
of
it.
either really sour stuff or really weird stuff. It's like Sour Patch Kids, Warheads. Yeah, as Becca said, now that I'm 50, I started eating Werthers when I was like 10. Like, you know, most people are like, oh, that's old people candy. I'm all into the Werthers, so, you know, it's my jam. Werthers, nibs, nibs,
Nib.
but sugar-free nibs. And
Yeah.
then a lot of like coffee flavored candies. I go to the dollar store and come out with a few. I fight old people for the bags that are left of the sugar-free nibs.
That's where it had to be said.
Yeah, it's the
You
best.
like old lady candy. Do you have boxes of ribbon candy?
Becca loves that. So we're both old. Becca gets like 2 boxes of ribbon candy at Christmas.
I think Noah, your brother, told me that he likes ribbon
He
candy
loves ribbon
also.
candy. Yeah, his favorite candy is satellite wafers because we used to give each other communion.
Totally agree.
Yeah.
They didn't even really taste like anything. Like you really savored those little ball things that
It's
were
like
in the
eating
middle
a piece
because
of paper. It's like a legal piece of paper
yeah,
for your kid to eat. Yeah.
that was the only flavor you were going to get in that, and yet you wanted another one. At least I did.
You know, they never changed it up. Like they never made like sour satellite wafers or changed it. It's the same. If you get them now, they're the same fucking thing. Like you're not getting anything different. And I like Necro wafers, kind of, but more of the chalk. But then after a while, they get kind of overwhelming. We're like, these are all the same flavor. Like, why do they put different colors in? And Steve
Yeah, you
said,
know what I hated?
licorice guy, 100%, but only super salt licorice. The kind that's like the double S licorice that literally burns your mouth. That's the shit.
Oh my God.
Yeah.
You have to go all the way, don't you?
I go to Baldinger's, is the only place in town that carries it. This old 1800s candy store in Zillionople. And man, it's really good. It hurts to eat. And that's the kind of stuff I like to be punished for eating my licorice.
I don't like black licorice.
You know?
And I also, you know what I really hated getting on Halloween was there was always that house that just pulled big handfuls of stuff out of a bowl and threw it into your bag, and it was just like teeny little wrapped pieces of, you know, like a generic bundle they got. And in those bundles there was this disgusting candy that I guess was sort of like chocolate. I even want to say maybe approaching real chocolate, but it was candy coated like an M&M sort of.
Sixlets.
And they came shrink wrapped in
Sixlets.
in a little packet. Those were disgusting.
They're horrible.
I fucking hated those, and like I always ended up with a big bag of those at Halloween.
I remember we had a wig. No, Whoppers are great. Baby. You have to love them. We used to get a big wicker basket. I remember, and we'd pour all our candy into it. You know, and I remember just
That's
by
a
the
mistake.
end, after like a couple of days, there was like the same stuff was always left. Like, do you know what I mean? It was like the bastard children of the candy world that would never be consumed.
Yeah. Eventually you would get to that point in your Halloween stash, and it's like, well, I really don't like this stuff, but I'm going to eat it anyway because that's all the candy that's left. And then there was the stuff you would never touch. And there was always a couple of those.
There's always one asshole that has floss and mini toothbrushes too. Like, you know what? I get it. Like, I get that this is a bad night for teeth, but you know what? Just one night. Just shut the
You're
fuck up.
not going to do anything to your
Yeah.
teeth on one
Yeah.
night. You don't
Yeah,
need
they're
that.
like, you know, like I always wanted to go back to their house and be like, I never brushed my teeth before, but you
Yeah.
taught me how. I'm like an Andy Milligan character, but you taught me how. And just have an emotional breakdown on their
You
porch.
changed my life.
You
You
changed my
changed the
life. I
course of
wouldn't
my
have
life.
teeth no more. Oh, my teeth are back. Yeah, that's really. There were always rumors in my town that there were people that gave out toys, and it would like what maniacs are giving out action figures. That was the other big rumor. Never
That's a childish urban legend.
super urban. Like someone's like they're handing out GI Joe figures, and I was like, I remember saying to my mom like, we need to find this house. Like I don't care how many houses we go to, and I'm gonna get like 8 costumes and just keep going back. And she's like, no, this house doesn't exist. Because like where they told me it was, there weren't even any houses. It really felt like they were trying to put me into white slavery. You know what I mean? Like they like lured me. Little fat me shows up. Is this where the GI Joe figures are? Yeah, and then get in the van. Get in the van, and I'm rolling away. So probably how it happened. I agree. Go ahead, Bill.
Halloween started to become a big deal for me probably like around age 6, I think. I was about 5 or 6. I probably always loved it, but I don't remember very much. I have pictures of me like in a banana splits, one of those box costumes with
Oh
a
yeah.
trick or treat bag. But it was really probably like around 76 because I remember there was on a Halloween night or like the night before Halloween, they showed the Paul Lynde Halloween Special, and look what's happened to Rosemary's Baby back to back.
Oh.
I remember being there and watching that and just being like, wow, there's Halloween stuff like on the show. I guess that was the first time I saw Kiss, but it was exciting to me that other people. Then I saw a Lawrence Welk show where they did a Halloween party and there was like a Dracula tango that they did and everybody was in costume, and it started to become like really exciting to me
I used
around
to
that
love
age.
when regular shows would have a Halloween episode, whether they were going to a party or something spooky was happening. You know what I mean? Like on like Roseanne always did it, but like even before that, like Arnold and Willis would go to a haunted house. You know what I mean? It would be like something like that. And it was just like, oh man, like everything's. Then you'd have the Great Pumpkin. Speaking of Great Pumpkin, one more costume. Yes.
There's another costume
Yeah.
change. It's a bunny.
He's a bunny. He said, no, he's like, I am the mouse that was stabbed in that Andy Milligan movie. I survived.
Oh, he's a mouse.
He's the
Is
mouse.
he a mouse or a bunny? Okay.
He's a bunny, but for the sakes of this bit, he is a mouse from the Andy Milligan thing.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
Yeah.
I'd be angry about it too, Andy. Or not Andy. Cubby.
Cubby. There you go, Wubs. You're very tired. I know. A lot of costumes. That was what, 6 costume pages. Man.
So, yeah, that was when Halloween started to become a big deal, and I loved putting up the cutouts. We had Halloween cutouts. We had those. We had a scarecrow and a witch with those accordion arms and legs.
Yeah.
I looked forward to those, and the Beastle cut out ghosts.
I told you that we did. My dad ran the art club, and we did a haunted house every year that I was in high school.
Oh wow!
Yeah, it was the Crypt of Terror, and we got to draw. My dad was a big EC Comics fan, so we would do literally the posters for it would look like an EC comic. And then we got to take over the Murphy's Mart in my town went out of business. So the basement is where the toys were and like the housewares. So we got to use the entire basement, and it was 2 storefronts big for like 2 years of the 4 years we did it. And it was awesome because they let us do anything we wanted. So there was a room with like the pit and the pendulum that would cut somebody in half. I had like a Leatherface room that I built where I was Leatherface. There was a Michael Myers room with strobes where he came at you. It was pretty intense. And I remember we made really good money. Like we paid for our club for the whole year. We also taught kids like how to run a business and stuff. And it's a lot of work. It was like a month worth of work. And I remember one night the principals had heard like what a big deal it was in town. So all the higher ups of the school all went through, and we had no idea they were coming through. And it was the last night, so we were going nuts with doing effects. You know what I mean? Like so much gore. And I remember them saying to my dad, like, "Does it really have to be this much blood?" Like someone's intestines came flying out and almost hit us. And then he's like, "Well, the kids get really excited." And it was like his expression. He's like, the kids like it, and nobody's really upset. So it was pretty cool.
Haunted houses were amazing to me as a kid. Like that was like being the really that was the thing that I would look forward to at Halloween, probably like in the late 70s is when it was always the JCs.
Yeah.
That had a haunted house. It was similar to what you said. I guess it's like, kids learning about how to run a business.
Yeah. I was just talking to one of my friends that did it with us. It was like he's actually a teacher today. And he said like he can't believe how much we got away with. He's like, it's probably all your dad's fault because he ran so much interference for us. And he never told us like, hey, maybe don't have that pendulum cut somebody in half. We had like someone's legs on one side and someone's arms on the other, and they screamed and blood sprayed everywhere, all over the room. And I remember him walking through and being like, good job. But thanks, Matt. Yeah, it's been a weird. If you guys notice my voice, like the Saturday before being really down, it's like it's been hard to talk a little bit. But yeah, it's been an interesting experience. I guess that's the best way of saying it. But yeah. So yeah. If in case you didn't know, if you don't follow me on Facebook, my dad passed away on Thursday, so of last week. So I've been kind of living at my parents for like I'm back home now at my wife's my house. But yeah. So
I mentioned it on the show on Saturday.
Oh, okay, cool.
I hope that's okay.
No, totally. So
well, you had already announced it on Facebook, so I felt okay saying that.
No, I'm glad you did. So yeah, he was 84, and he had he'd been sick for a while, and but on the other hand, it's not ever going to get easy or anything. But I owe a lot of like my artistic side and weirdness to him. I mean, he was making jokes. Someone was talking about a vacation when he was in the nurses were in there, and they couldn't understand what he was trying to say because they were talking about someone in the background was talking about going to vacation in California, and he kept trying to say, like the girl from Ipanema, which is totally what I would say, right? And they couldn't, and I explained to him, they go, what is that? I'm like, well, it's a song from when my dad was young. I had to explain, and he's like, yes, Sam gets it. Sam understands. I'm like, yeah, we have very similar sense of humor. So it was nice. So yeah, but he watched Chili Billy with me every Saturday night. He watched Superhost with me. I put him through. You can imagine, putting up with me in grade school and high school, and took me to every. I have my first convention was the Pittsburgh Comic Con with Adam West and Tom Savini, and it's like 88 or 87. And he drove me an hour and 15 minutes, hour and 20 minutes to get to it. And he sat and he listened to all the stuff. He went to all the, every panel with me and stuff. He didn't have to do any of that. So he was a really good dude. So I'm very, I'm sad, but I'm also, it's hard to be like, it's easy to be sad, but I'm trying to look at the things, like the good parts of it. You know what I mean? And there's a lot of good parts. And it's been nice. A lot of his old students have been reaching out and saying how they owe their careers to him. And he taught for 38 years, taught art, so it's pretty wild. Yeah.
Well, our condolences to you
Oh,
and
thank you.
your family.
Yeah, I'm going down one more day this week, Thursday for mass, and then you know, and then I'm still checking on my mom. No, that's the hard part. She's in a big house by herself now. But, it's
Yeah.
a little
There's
different.
no way to prepare for that.
No. So my brother's been with her off and on, and I'm going to go down Wednesday night and then stay till Thursday. I have to go up on the altar and read from the Bible. So hopefully you guys will see me the next Saturday. I don't just spontaneously erupt into flames when I go up there. And yeah, that'll be
I
fun.
don't think you have to worry about that.
No. That same church we're going to is the church where I used to get the Pittsburgh Catholic, and I would cut out the list of morally offensive movies every week. And the 1981 morally offensive list, Bill, I got to tell you, is like the Driving Asylum yearbook. It's the same movies.
Oh, of course it is.
Yeah. By the way, if anyone needs a recommendation for something to buy, that's what you do. But man, that Arrow Gothic Fantastico set is fucking awesome. Holy shit, it's really good. It's got the witch on it. It's got the Blancheville monster, and the Third Eye, which is the movie that got remade as Beyond Darkness, Boy Omega. It's the same movie. Man, it's there's some really good stuff, and this whole set's cleaned up. Like it's kind of like that what we were talking about, The Witch's Mountain that came out from Mono Macabre today. It's amazing that these movies that we've seen a million times, we never really saw these movies. Do you know what I mean? Like there's a lot about The Witch's Mountain that supposedly had like snuff footage. There was a rumor and some other stuff. Yeah, it's pretty exciting to get these. Matt, no lineup for next Saturday yet. Bill and I have to talk, but we'll have.
Well, no, next Saturday we're not going to be here.
Yeah, the Saturday after on the 12th, we'll be back.
Yeah.
We won't be on the 5th. We'll be on the 12th.
Yeah, we're going to be back on November 12th, and we
I
haven't
know that
announced the
there's
movies
something
yet.
that Becca recommended that we're doing probably at some point.
Yes.
That you will get. There's at least one of those, and there's so much new stuff that keeps showing up on Tubi. It's mind blowing. Like if you imagine, us UHF era kids waiting to see what was coming up next and not knowing what shows up on Show or Theater, knowing that Tubi was out there. Do you know what I mean? It was like, oh, you want to see like the cleanest version of this movie you've ever seen? Like here it is.
Yeah, Nora says there are 11 of us.
Really?
There's actually 15 people watching, so there must be like 3 or 4 people on YouTube.
Oh, that's awesome. Well, I really appreciate everybody that came out tonight to watch stuff, and it was fun getting to do this. It's funny, on Saturday I talked to my mom. She's like, are you going to do the show? And I was like, no. I'm still kind of bummed out. She's like, you should do it. Your dad would be happy if you did. He liked watching you do it, so I was like, maybe. But
did he watch?
He watched clips. She would show him some of the clips on the thing.
Oh, okay.
It's funny because he had dementia. This is not funny, but this is his sense of humor. He had dementia the last 3 years of his life, and he said to my mom a couple weeks ago, he said he watched Sanford and Son and Murder, She Wrote every day, like religiously. Those were his 2 shows, right? And he said to my mom, he said, I've never seen this Murder, She Wrote before. They keep bringing out these new ones. And then my mom was like going to say something to him, and he goes, well, once you've had a stroke, everything's new. He goes, imagine living in a world where there are no reruns. He goes, it's really pretty cool. And it's like, wow, that's amazing to find some joy even in that, right?
That is a silver lining, yeah.
It is. Luckily, they got him to stop. He had to be supervised when he watched Oak Island because he went out to the front yard and started digging once. He was looking. He knew where the treasure of Oak Island was in our yard, so my mom had to keep him from watching Oak Island for a bit. We had to kind of talk to them about that. Man, there's some Tubi originals there's a new one I watched today. I can't remember the name of it was. There's a lot of stuff that would have gone on BET or Lifetime that Tubi's buying or Sci-Fi. And I kind of like that. They're nothing over 2 stars, right? But who cares? I like sometimes having just trash on while I'm working. So, Night of the Sorcerers is on there too, Bill. Speaking of what's his name, and All the Blind Dead
Mondo
movies.
de Osorio.
Yeah, and a lot of the Blind Dead stuff's up there too. So
I still haven't bought Night of the Sorcerers. I need to because I love that movie. That's one
I
of
haven't
those
seen
movies.
it, believe it or not. I haven't seen
Oh
it.
wow, it's amazing.
Yeah.
It's hissing vampire chicks in leopard bikinis
I mean, that's what else do I need?
running through the jungle in slow motion.
Well, I'm going to watch it tomorrow after I finish The Lorelai's Grasp, which I love too. I
Yeah.
love that there's a scene where all the girls are getting ready for bed and say goodnight to the hunters. Like it's wow. It's like it's good stuff.
At one time released in the United States as the Swinging Monster.
Oh man, I love it. It's very it is very 60s, late 60s, early 70s, which I'm super into.
Well, it was X-rated
Really?
when it came out in the United States. Yeah, because I mean it's pretty gory.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't know if the version you saw. I'm sure you saw the uncut version. It's pretty
Yeah.
gory. It got an
Yeah.
X.
Yeah.
Obviously for violence, but every once in a while they would try and market a movie like that as if it were porn, and they retitled it The Swinging Monster.
You know what? The more carny you get about a movie, the more I'm gonna love it. So,
And then it came out that, can you believe that it came out as a slasher in 1984?
what was it called then?
When the Screaming Stops.
Oh yeah.
Or it was like 1979, I think, or somewhere around there. It came out in the slasher boom as When the Screaming Stops. And it had a great ad campaign that told you nothing about the movie. It said, like, you've dealt with Night of the Living Dead, you've dealt with Dawn of the Dead. Now you're going to see When the Screaming Stops, as if this was like so much more intense.
You know what other movie I watched? Not Malatesta's Carnival of Blood, but the other Carnival of Blood. I watched this week too. The one with Burt Young in it. And whoa, yeah, it's pretty wild. Hey, Matt said he watched Knight Riders the other night. I got to say that's a great pick. I love that movie. Izzy Yinzer.
Knight Riders? Oh yeah.
Yeah.
I dig it.
Yeah. I like the my favorite part is when they try to market Tom Savini's character as like a sex symbol. They have that big foam piece that's cut out that says Mordred on it. He's posing on it with like a chainmail bikini. It's like this wouldn't happen, but yeah, pretty great.
It would happen in my world.
Yeah, exactly. So yeah, there's Season of the Witch is on Tubi too. Another, if you want to get deep into the deep cut Romero, that's another good one to put on.
I like that one, even though nothing happens, and well, because nothing happens in it.
It's a Yinzer Giallo because it's a Yinzer F Giallo. It's a woman coming apart at the seams and just a mess, and it's awesome.
Sure, yeah.
I imagine she's like, fucking horns and Kaufmans don't give me enough satisfaction. And my kids are at college. I'm going to hit on my daughter's boyfriend. There's a lot going on in that movie.
Horns. What about Gimbals? Remember Gimbal?
And Lazarus and Zare.
Gimbals was on the way out by the time I didn't start going downtown until the late 80s.
Yeah.
And Gimbals was already on the way out. I used to take the bus into town to go record shopping, like when I was in high school, and I would see Gimbals down there. And then by the time I went to college, Gimbals had closed. So I missed them.
It's wild. In South Hills Village, there's the taco place that's out there now. What's Condado? It's inside the old National Record Mart section of South Hills Village.
Yeah.
And they painted a wall to look like National Record Mart inside it. And it has all these cartoon characters buying records. It made me so happy. Innocent Blood is shot right next to, in that Market Square section where the one downtown used to be at. And the camera doesn't pan down enough to show you National Record Mart. It really upset me. Like, come on, just like 10 more feet. We can see it.
Until recently, you could still see National Record Mart painted on the side of that building. Yeah. I mean, recently, sometime in the last 5 years, I guess.
Yeah, it's crazy. That that whole section of Market Square was my haunt when I went to art school. So, it was like Art Institute was on Penn, and you'd walk up from there, and it was like everything was there, dude. George Aiken was there. I ate every George Aiken. Why am I fat? Fried chicken at George Aiken.
I only ate there a couple of times.
Oh man,
George Aiken was a diner where you would go in and sit at a counter and eat. Was it a counter or
it was a counter? Yeah. It's a awesome. Candy Rama was down there. National
Candy Rama. Yeah. Oh my god, I miss Candy Rama so bad. That was like one of those places you could probably go in and buy a whole bushel of sixlets.
You could buy a bag of candy for like $1.50 and have like enough for the rest of the week. Like, you know what I mean? Like, you could really load up on stuff there.
You could also buy like 10 Swedish fish.
Yeah, just individually and buy what color you want them. There's that place in the Fifth Avenue arcade that has some of that stuff, Bill. If you haven't been in there, and then the bottom floor of the arcade, it's in there.
I never go in there.
It's no Candy Rama. Don't go in being like, oh, this is going to be the Candy Rama experience where you're like surrounded. It's one of the. I imagine if it was in a movie, the camera would dolly up and spin around me like the Palma style.
You shouldn't have told me that because now I'm going to be down there. I work 2 blocks from there.
That's why I'm telling you. It's Highmark's in that building, and they were one of my clients. And every time I went, I'm like, well, I'll go to that candy shop. It's not that bad. they got some good stuff in there. But not Candy Rama. Like, don't expect those wooden beat up floors and that like magical bins surrounding you in every direction. There were like 3 of them too. There was like one down by Shea Kimberly, and there was on Smithfield there was one, and there was another. There were like 3 of them, I think, in the city. So yeah, a magical time to be in Pittsburgh.
Those dots, you always ended up eating a little bit of paper with them too, and sometimes you could get them off perfectly, but other times you ate paper. Not a good idea.
No, I was thinking about those when we were talking about candies, like, and I didn't have any patience as a kid, so I probably ate more paper than candy.
Yeah, it took some doing, and like you didn't want to waste it because you wanted one.
Yeah.
So you didn't want to waste it. What's a little paper?
Yeah. And do they still sell those? I wonder.
Yeah. There was a candy place downtown where you could buy stuff like that. Not penny candy exactly, but sometimes they had they definitely had those dots.
I have a big weakness for black cows and stuff like that too, but like I'm sure today they would ruin my teeth. Like, I would. That and anything like those like slow eating ones, that's what I would always
do. When you're old, you can't eat shit like that.
Yeah, sugar daddy. A candy whose time has come.
You're going to tear out all your bridge work.
Yeah. I mean, I just got this tooth done. I don't need to yank it back out on a Chico stick. Yeah. I don't need to do that. On a Chupa Chup. You love those?
They had the Spice Girls.
Oh, they did have Spice Girls one. That was Becca's time.
Well, we want to thank everybody for spending a little bit of your Halloween with us. It's been fun. I know it's been fun for me.
Thanks for watching this with us. Bill, thanks for doing this tonight, too. This was a good, I feel much better about life, and it's good to hang out with everybody here. And look forward to coming back. We'll be back before you know it.
I was hoping you would want to do the show. Of course, because I said, hey, we don't have to do that show on Monday. And you said you wanted to. So I was kind of happy.
Yeah, super happy. And I'm excited to watch. If I can get more people to watch movies like this, I feel like I'm doing something for the world, right?
Bill does love wax lips. And on that note.
Yeah. I mean, where else?
We'll be back on November 12th. So we'll be posting about what movies we'll be showing. We hope you'll come back. And in the meantime, hope your Halloween was happy. See you next time.
Under 17 not admitted without parents or guardians. 17 not admitted without parents or guardian.